appears to have been a cleaner start to events compared to yesterday's race. Tander on the menacing.
This is Stephen Ellery over there. Now, right now it is Leg 2 of the Adelaide 500, and it is lap 1, and he has sort of done himself a mischief because after this he makes a bit of a mess. But that's not what I'm talking about when it comes to this driver. This is a driver that is extremely underrated for the sort of equipment that he had. The family-run team done right, I would say. But that's not the only story about this driver that I'd like to talk about. Join me as I talk about Stephen Ellery's whole supercars career, and as we head up to Sandown, a track he specifically had some good results in. Not everybody is a Jamie Whincup in this world, but at the same time, not everybody is a David Thexton. Stuck in between your Lee Holdsworths and Alan Gers of this world are drivers with an unfortunate combination. A combination of exceptional talent combined with bad timing, car performance, or just bad luck. They are the diamonds in the gravel. Now for this episode, I will be mainly talking about his touring car Australian efforts, because yes, he has done more stuff, but the meat and potatoes of this episode will be supercars related. So going off that statement, why am I talking about Ford Sierras then for his first adventure? Well, in 1993, you could still run a 2-litre car, and a few people just took the turbos out of their Ford Sierras and just ran them like that. So what they did was buy an ex-Glen Seaton Racing Sierra, take the turbo out of it and take it to Bathurst for 1993, where he would team up with Gary Casati. Yes, they were DNF at the top of the hill because of, I think, engine issues, but it was a good stepping stone to the next year's Australian Manufacturers Championship, commonly known as the Super Touring Series. But before then, he had to get a few miles in the car. So what he did was quite clever, and he was the last one of these people to run this sort of car. So for the first couple of rounds of the championship, he entered the number 88 Ford Sierra in the Australian Touring Car Championship. Now he is the last non-V8 driver to enter a championship race. Granted, he didn't really do too well because he's running a 2-litre car against 20 other 5-litre cars, but it was good miles heading into the Super Touring campaign where he didn't do too badly. I mean, no one was going to beat those BMWs apart from each other. 1995 wasn't really much standout. He did partner with Phil Ward at the Enduros, but it was 1996 where things really stepped up a gear. He would partner with Tony Longhurst and run sort of like a pseudo Longhurst racing car. It would be the number 52 Konica car. Now for a privateer, he did okay. He was lagging behind the likes of Stephen Richards and John Faulkner, but he was still ahead of some of the other guys. Where he really stood out there that year was the Enduros. At Bathurst, he had to do a double stint in that race, and it really helped him and his co-driver Tony Longhurst out because they finished third that race. That is one of the underdog stories of all time. I mentioned it in this video here. You can check that out on my channel, wherever the link to my channel is. And while you're there, like and subscribe so my cat can get more of that specific food that he likes. Look at him licking his lips for it. Steve-O really impressed people during that Enduro campaign, so much so that Tony offered him a full-time 1997 drive in a second Longhurst racing car, an official professional car. The results were okay at best, but he got into a bit of strife with Tony at Symonds Plains because talking on the V8 Sleuth podcast, there was a weird speculation in his deal where if Tony was still running on the road, he had to move over for Tony. I mean, being team owner, he can do whatever he wants to. But Stephen didn't do that at Symonds Plains for him. So what did he do? He told him to grab his car and get out of here. You are not longer required at Longhurst Racing. So that was the roller coaster down for Stephen Ellery. As it was going up, it's now gone down. He did join Gibson Motorsport for the enduro races where he got 6th, so showing off that endurance prowess again. 1998, he got a hell of a deal. He was picked to be the Holden Young Lion of that year. Now this is the same team that did so well at Bathurst in 1997 before Jason Bargwiner crashed at the warm-up, but there was a teeny tiny thing that was wrong with it. It wasn't going to be based at Holden Racing Team, it was going to be based at Gibson Motorsport. Now you wouldn't think that would be the end of the world, but don't forget 1998 was the last year of the tyre war, and Gibsons were running on Yokohamas, which, if you weren't in the know, the Yokohamas were, to put it bluntly, shit for 1998. I would say he was actually quite consistent. 15th in points, he beat Darren Pate and Darren Hossack in the points. He did get 2 top 10s, which was not too bad, but his top 15s, he got 12 of them, so he was around that 11th to 15th to just outside of them for a few races throughout the season. 1999, him and his father Bruce decided to just say, fuck it, let's just do things our way. They would buy an ex-Stone Brothers Racing EL Falcon, enter it at 6 sprint rounds and enter the 2 enduro rounds in the number 18 DJR car for Paul Radisich. He did quite well considering this was a part-time team. They got 7 top 10s throughout the season, including Oran Park, where he got 3 top 10s throughout the whole weekend and finished in the top 10 for the round. But it was really, again, the enduros where, and specifically Bathurst, where he shined. That number 18 car was fucking rapid throughout most of the day, up and down the straights, and Stephen Ellery really shined in his stints. And unfortunately, it was the main driver that let the team down. Paul Radisich would clip a lapped car going past with 20 laps to go while leading, and he would cut a tyre down, and that would really put them back in the pack, and then because of splitter damage, that would really lunch the engine. I talked about that sort of situation in this video here. Again, look on my channel for it. 2000 was a big turning point for Stephen Ellery and the team. They would go full season running. They would build a car, SER1 to be exact, and they would get full season sponsorship from Super Cheap Auto. Now Super Cheap Auto was in the series ever since late 1997. They would partner with John Briggs, but for Stephen Ellery Racing was where they really got on the map. For a first full season with a car that you built for the first time, they didn't do too bad, 21st in points, but it was really Sandown where they would stand out. They had very good speed throughout the whole weekend and utilised the reverse top 6 gimmick for the second race, and guess what? They won!
He's had a good clean run. The 26-year-old from the Gold Coast, Steve Ellery, breaks through for his first ever Shell Championship Series win. Well done to the team.
Mum can't believe it. I know his father, Bruce, the whole team have worked very, very hard, and they are very proud mum and dad. Stephen Ellery can stand tall. He has beaten the best in the business. He's done it. Sandown Park this afternoon.
Stephen Ellery would win his first race ever in the Australian Touring Car Championship, and he would even finish that off with a trophy, because back then only the round result counted towards a podium finish, and he got second for the round behind Paul Radisich. So heading into 2001, they had a lot of momentum going their way, and it just kept going. They had good results throughout the whole season. They got a double top 10 for both enduros, top 10 in races throughout the whole season, and they would end up getting 9th in points. Now remember, this is still a very small team compared to some of the teams that Stephen beat. He beat both Gary Rogers cars. He beat both Ford Tickford cars. He beat Craig Lowndes, Larry Perkins, for God's sake. But unfortunately, 2002, the speed would fall off, although the competitiveness of the other cars would rise. It didn't help that season started quite poorly with a crash in the first round at Bathurst, which would sideline him for the whole weekend. He did have good speed at Eastern Creek and Oran Park. He did get 21st in points just like in 2000, and again another top 10 at Bathurst though, so again the Bathurst speed is there. 2003 the team would move and build a new BA Falcon. The decent speed was still there, he had some standout results, he got 3 top 10s, but the Enduros this year was really, he stood out again. He would partner up with Luke Yolden, which he did the previous season. Luke was running in the development series for the team, and they would get 2nd and 3rd. 2nd at Sandown, like I said, Sandown, standout event for Stephen. And Bathurst, he would get 3rd. Such a small team with such good speed at the Enduros, it was something to celebrate. But in 2004, it would spiral downwards. There would be a downturn of speed for the team, unfortunately. More top 10s throughout the season than the previous one, but the Enduro speed would unfortunately fall off, and at the Gold Coast was where everything would collapse for the team. They got told to take off the stickers of everything, the car, the transporter, even the fire suits. They had to get generic Ford racing ones from the Ford truck, basically. Unfortunately, it would cause many things. It would cause Stephen Ellery Racing to shut down. They had plans to expand to 2 cars with Luke Yolden, but obviously that would go away, and Stephen Ellery would have to find another ride. And he did. He would be driving the number 88 888 racing car. Now, this is the first time he's driven in such a big team. Yes, he was at Longhurst Racing for a bit, but that was in 1997 when they probably didn't have as many employees as 888 does. I think he was working with a young Mark Dutton that year as well, and it would get off to unfortunately a bad start with a crash at Adelaide in race 1. He was running quite well at that point, but a retirement and a DNS in the next race really hurt him. He started off quite slow, he had another big crash at qualifying in Oran Park which would sideline him for both rounds. But after that round, he would get the consistency up massively. In the last 11 races that year, he would get 9 top 10s. That is impressive speed for even someone like Chaz Mostert these days. And once again, he would shine at the mountain, getting a 3rd place position with Adam Macro, being the first ever podium sitters at the mountain for 888, which, I mean, they can be the only 2 people that say that. But unfortunately, it was all too late by that point. 888 had already hired Jamie Whincup to be his replacement in the 88 car for next season. And, I mean, he can't be too upset with... It's unfortunately with what happened, don't get me wrong, but with what Jamie has done in that 88/1 car, you can't really be too mad about it. So for 2006, he wouldn't have time to find a full-time drive anywhere. He did find the part-time stuff here and there for Paul Morris's 2nd car, so he could run as his co-driver. Did get 2 top 10s at the 2 Enduros though, so again the consistency, I'm saying this for the whole video, the consistency at the Enduros, that is why people keep having their eye on Steve Ellery, Enduro specialist. So for 2007, Paul got him again. He did a one-off round at Queensland Raceway and raced with Paul again at the Enduros. At this point though, unfortunately, the speed was gone. He did get 6 points though in total. Remember, this is the only year where they had the top 15 score points. He got 15th place at Sandown. And in 2008, it was a bit of a throwaway year. He was partnered with Greg Ritter in the 2nd car, the spare car, you could say, back in those days. A 12th and a 16th in the 2 Enduros was nothing special, and after that year, he sort of lost his love for supercars racing, so he stepped back from driving duties to focus on the business stuff. He did make a return though. Later on in the Bathurst 6-hour era, he would do something quite nice. He would partner up with his 2 sons, Dalton and Tristan. Now, the results unfortunately weren't there, but I've got to say, it was cool seeing Steve Ellery back racing. So what can we take out of Steve Ellery's career? Well, he really impressed in little what he had, basically. That family-run team was tiny compared to some of the other teams he was racing against, and he managed to outpunch them, basically. And he was a specialist in the endurance races. Whenever they went to Sandown or Queensland or Bathurst, he was really impressive, again, with whatever he had. And like I said, not many people can say that they were Triple 8's first Bathurst podium finisher. So that is the second episode of Diamonds in the Gravel. Who would you like to see in the next episode? Comment down below. And if you like what you see, like I said, give a like and a subscribe. The support would be very much appreciated. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. We are so close. And see you in the next video, whatever that would be.